All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, coming at you with a fight review. We're going to UFC Fight Night Austin, Texas. We're going to the prelims Bantamweight bout. 12th ranked Miesha Tate coming in at 19-9, taking on 13th ranked Julia Avila coming in at 9-2. Vila coming in off of a long layoff, something like close to 2 years. Tate moving back up from an attempt at flyweight. So let's get into it. First round, Tate punched Avila to the fence, worked for her, and got single leg takedown at the 25-second mark. Tate managed to free her head and then passed to side control, then moved to north-south, then eventually went back to side control. Avila tried to roll, allowing Tate to take her back. From there, Tate started landing some ground and pound. Avila, though, rolled again, giving up the mount to Tate. More Tate ground and pound. Eventually, she got Avila's back again, started hitting her with elbows from her back and some punches. Tate hunted for the choke, but Avila managed to block it, so Tate went back to strikes and eventually ended up mounting her again. Dominant first round for Miesha Tate. Then we go to the second round, and Avila started tagging Tate early with some punches, but Tate ducked under one of them, went for the takedown against the fence, went straight to side control. Now Avila held on to Tate's head for a little bit, but eventually Tate got free and into full guard. From full guard, she stood, punched a few times, and passed to north-south. More punches. Now, Tate had both of her hands at one point in the fence, and the referee warned her, and then, for some reason, she kept her... I don't know what was going on. I don't know if her fingers were stuck or what, but eventually, she got her fingers out of the fence. Started landing some more hard ground and pound. You could tell Avila's nose started bleeding. Tate, though, decided to stay in the three-quarter guard, landed strikes to the body and the head of Julia Avila. Then Tate moved to side control, some more ground and pound. Avila was just trapped. And then eventually Tate got to mount, looking to finish, and then took her back again late. So another second dominant round from Miesha Tate, who was looking very strong in this fight. So then we get to the third round, and Tate wasted zero time. Secured a double leg on the fence. Avila almost got back up, but Tate brought her back down to the ground, worked her way to her back, and Tate wasted no time. She immediately went for the rear naked choke, rolled Avila over, and Avila tapped out. Minute and 15 seconds for your winner via submission due to rear naked choke, Miesha Tate. Man, Tate is back. She looked strong and fierce. Now, she moved down to flyweight for her last bout and faced Lucky Lauren Murphy, losing that bout. I think she gave up too much of herself in that bout, in that weight cut. But she's back at bantamweight, and she just looked absolutely fierce. She came out with something to prove in this bout. Now, I mentioned that Avila came off of a long layoff. She had knee surgery. Then she got pregnant, had her first kid. But I got to be honest, I don't think any version of Avila would have stopped Tate last night in Austin. Tate was that determined and just looking that good that you show me any version of Julia Avila, and the Miesha Tate that showed up last night would have beat her. And, Miesha mentioned that, she went back to her wrestling. She said, this is what started me off. It's where she found her success. So she went back to her old school wrestling. And she's not wrong. That's what always worked best for her. And I'll tell you what, she got a huge crowd pop last night. They were chanting her name during the fight. When she won, the crowd exploded. Just huge crowd pop. Let's be honest, she's still as popular probably as she ever was. So the crowd certainly still love her. So here's a question. With both fighters in the latter half of their 30s, where do they go from here? Tate's 37, Avila's 35. Do either of them have what it takes for title contention at this point? That's going to be a big question. I think the UFC would definitely want Tate to get back into contention just to help sell fights at the very least. With Avila, she's going to have to show something else in in her future fights. So let's talk things to work on. We'll start with Miesha Tate. Listen, she was getting tagged early in the second. I mean, it didn't last long because she ducked under and got a takedown. But Avila did tag her with some punches. And she's got to work on slipping those punches. But other than that, I mean, she had a great fight. For Avila, obviously, she's got to work on her takedown defense. Got to work on that takedown defense. But then once you work on that takedown defense, even if you get taken down, then you got to worry about getting off your back. So she's got to start working on sweeps from bottom as well, because she was absolutely stuck on bottom. Mostly resorted to just trying to roll over. But as soon as she did, Tate stayed on her and would take her back or would take mount. So she's got to work on her takedown defense, and then she's got to work on what to do once she gets taken down. And finally, let's talk fights to make for Avila. So she's at number 13. She just lost. She's got to defend that spot now. Sitting at number 15 is Chelsea Chandler. Now, Chandler's down to brawl. Avila is good for a nice brawl. I think that's a good matchup. I think that fits both of them pretty darn well. For Tate, well, she's going to want to look to move up in the rankings. January 13th, there is a matchup between number 11 Dumont and number 8 Yana Santos. I think the loser of that bout would be a good step. Loser probably ends up, depending on who it is. If it's at Dumont, then she stays at 11. It's a very small step. But if it's Santos, she won't immediately move from 8 to 11. She'll probably move to like 9 or 10. That's a more realistic step for Miesha Tate. So I think the loser of that fight. Also, I think Macy Chasson's at number 10, I think. And she has a big fight coming up. Depending on the result of that fight, Miesha could face either of those two fighters as well. So Miesha definitely has, I would say, more options than Avila at this time. It's just a matter of what the UFC matchmakers want to do, how they want to match her up. So those are my thoughts on this bout. Miesha Tate defeating Julia Avila via rear naked choke in the third round. Let me know your thoughts on the bout in the comments down below. If you liked the vid, please hit that thumbs up button. And while you're at it, go and subscribe to WMAC Now. The best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.